Welcome to Corrective Consciousness, episode 87, the podcast about our lives and love of pop culture. I am your host, VyseTheBold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
And PyroJackFrost.
Whoa.
Back again! Oh, dip.
Don't get used to me. Probably be gone for 2 weeks in a row after this.
Oh, man, I can't wait.
I mean, wait, start the podcast over.
Wait, you're on this one?
Yeah.
So what have you been up to, man?
Oh, wow. I was not expecting just to start off with that.
Yeah.
No. Okay, all right. Well, let's say some other bullshit first. I just flew into my apartment, and boy, are my eyes tired.
What?
Anyway, so it's actually kind of funny. I've been on. The last time I've been on was like 2 weeks ago, but between these 2 weeks, I've gotten maybe 3 or 4 hours of video game playing time.
Yeah,
So, like a lot of things I'll talk about are like books or board games, but I've been adulting, basically. All this weekend was house hunting, basically, going to open houses. So, a lot of life stuff that's getting in the way of the stuff that I actually want to do.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean. I always think to myself during my commute, like, I'd much rather be playing a video game right now than commuting. It's really lame.
Yeah, because
really
like I'll get home and I'll either have to look at houses or plan for other things. I went to a baby shower recently too, so that was like a whole day thing.
Yep.
Wow.
It's
intense.
It's been busy. But that being said, I have played some board games that I'll probably talk about for a little bit. So the first one I really want to talk about, which might actually be pretty long, is called GKR Heavy Hitters. GKR stands for Giant Killer Robots.
Nice.
So one cool thing about this game is it's by Weta Workshop. If you don't know who they are, they're the people who designed the art and maybe even the CG for Elysium and District 9.
Okay.
So they do a lot of movie art, and this is their first board game. It's really cool. The art style is very Borderlands-esque. Like, it looks cel-shaded. It's 2D, but it looks cel-shaded.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really neat about it is it came with 4 pretty big minis. I mean, you can't really see if you're listening, but my hands are trying to show everyone what it looks like, so they can be like, oh, wow, that's pretty big.
Wow. Is the quality on them good, too?
It's pretty good quality.
They're not heavy, too?
They don't articulate at all, but they're pre-painted, which is awesome. And the whole idea... So the other cool thing about it is it comes with, like, plastic buildings, and you have to basically claim buildings, and once you've claimed... You claim it by placing a flag, by being next to it. If you place 4 flags on it, then you can destroy the building, which gets you points. And it's really cool because the way you play is you have a deck of cards that you can build prior to the game with like 1 primary weapon and 2 secondary weapons plus like maneuvers and reactions. But those deck of cards are also your health. So whenever you get dealt damage, you have to take a card from your hand or from your draw pile and put it in your destroyed pile, basically.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. So the logic is somebody shoots a rocket launcher at you or whatever, and like one of your guns flies off or something.
Yep, and there's like in the rules, the flavor text is, "Oh no, my whatever weapon is down. I guess I can't use that now."
Yeah.
So that's like how like they damage your systems instead of you having like separate health and items. It's really cool, especially because let's say your primary weapon, you have 5 cards for that. And you have to have all 5. So if you lose one of them, it's like the system's damaged, but you can still use it. But once it gets damaged 5 times, then you can no longer use that weapon. So it's really cool that the basic idea is you have to either destroy 4 buildings, which is a lot harder said than done, or easier said than done, I would say, or you have to destroy one of your opponents. Once one opponent is destroyed, then it's whoever has basically the most health remaining wins.
Actually, speaking of which, are repairs a thing, or does that not make sense in the middle of combat?
So they are. There's actually, you have your main robot and you have 4 other So your main robot is called your heavy hitter. You have 3 other giant killer robots. You have a scout unit, a combat unit, and a repair unit.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So the scout unit can move farther, but doesn't really do a lot of damage. So one really cool thing about this game is there's 3 different types of weapon, 3 different types of damage. There's missile, ballistic, and energy. If you're shooting a missile weapon, you do not need to see the target, but one of your scout units has to, or one of your support units. So it's kind of cool because they're like guided missiles. So as long as one of your units can see them, you can shoot the rocket from your heavy hitter to hit that unit.
It's like almost like a sniper and its spotter.
Kind of.
That's awesome.
So you have your scout unit, which moves farther, but it dies really quickly. You have your repair unit, which can only do melee damage, it's a little bit more healthy than the recon, but it can move not as much, but can move a decent amount. But also, if it melee attacks your own heavy hitter, it repairs damage instead of dealing damage.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But you can only repair your heavy hitter, because the thing is, if your support units die, you can just deploy a new one. So it's like you do not only have one recon unit. You can only have one out at a time.
Okay.
But if it's ever destroyed...
Unit?
What?
Reactive
consciousness
being
yes.
hilarious. Yeah.
Yes. If your recon unit is destroyed, then you can just deploy a new one. And they have this whole energy mechanic where you can only do a certain number of things on a turn, and deploying a unit without a card is actually really expensive, so you have to really be strategic as to what you want to do. Like, shooting weapons might cost a lot of energy. Moving any amount of squares with your heavy hitter costs energy, because it's supposed to be like you actually like moving through the rubble, so it's really cool. And I will say, when we played the game, I wasn't really sure if it was going to be too complicated or not, because it has all the minis, but it's actually really fun, and once you get the hang of it, it's really, really easy, and I think it's really well done. And what's also cool about it is I can see a lot of expansions, like more factions. So there's 4 factions that you can play as, and which depends on which really is the deck that you use. But I could see them releasing new factions, new weapons for the factions they already have, maybe new support units if they want to do that. It's really cool, really well done, and yeah, I think that was one of my favorite games that I've played over the past couple weeks.
Nice.
I've actually been getting the urge to play board games lately too. I've been wanting to do a little bit more research to see if the newer Doom board game is worth it. And
from what I heard, it's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, it improves a lot of the old one.
Yeah,
I mean, we've talked about this several times, but the old one really had to be house ruled if you wanted it to be fun and fair.
Yeah, and the other one that I wanted to get into was the one made by Harmonix. I forget the
Drop Mix.
Drop Mix, yeah.
Yeah, one of my friends has it and bought basically every single card expansion, and it's really cool because he also set up his lights in his kitchen that, based on sound, they'll change color.
That's awesome.
So, I think you mentioned that. Yeah, it's super cool.
So
I really want to play that.
The other, after the baby shower, we went for the after party to his place, and I tried to get there early so I could set up it, so I could be like the DJ for the party.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's expensive, and I will say the game itself is pretty meh, but as a toy, it's really cool.
Okay.
But it's a really expensive toy.
I get it. Yeah. That's actually the part I was worried about. I was wondering whether the game itself was worth it.
The game's okay. Like, it's honestly, part of me after playing the game once feel like if I were to buy it, I'd buy it for the music, not the game.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, that's kind of like
yeah.
That kind of thing really resonates with me because I like that kind of stuff, but it's a shame that the game itself isn't good. It's kind of like Mousetrap. I like putting it together, but not like playing the game.
Yeah,
I actually really liked Mousetrap.
But like the funny thing about Mousetrap is that I think a lot of people don't realize, like, without going in, like, the cool part of Mousetrap is what happened. It's like you don't want that to happen in the game.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like that's what the only thing people know about it, though, is the cool, like, breakfast machine effect.
I used to have also like a goofy mini golf game that was kind of like it too. That was a lot of fun. I just like putting things together. I think that's really what it is.
Yeah, so another board game that we played, actually one of our friends from Virginia, they came to visit last weekend, and that's why I was unavailable to be on the podcast, because they were there basically all weekend, and I was trying to be a good host. But they brought this game, it's a series called Unlock. It's basically a room escape game in board game form. What's really cool about it is it's a set of cards, and you have an app, and the app basically keeps track of time. And there might be different cards that are what they call machines, and you put the number of the machine in the app, and there's a little thing that you can interact with, and then it'll give you results that you can use. So the basic idea of the game is there's blue puzzle piece cards and red puzzle piece cards, and you have to add the two together. And if that number exists in the deck, you flip over that card, basically as finding that new object. For instance, if you have a key that's number, let's say 5, and a closet that's, let's say, number 17, and you add them together and you say, all right, is there 22 in the deck? And then you look in for it and it says 22, and you're like, okay, flip it over, and it'll be like unlocked cabinet, unlocked closet, and then that might give you more clues. So it's a really cool mechanic. One other thing that I like, even though it affected us basically a couple times when we played, was you can't just willy-nilly combine things together, because there are cards that are penalties.
Okay.
And it'll be like, no, you can't do that. And it'll be like, hit the penalty button on the app, which is basically like a minute penalty, which isn't that much, but still, you want to try to avoid it if you want to get like a high score.
Well, sure. It's just like in the real room when you're concentrating on the wrong thing for too long and you lose time.
Yeah. So there are 2 that we played so far, and what's really neat is they release 3 a year, basically. The first one we played was from the first set, which was very, you really didn't need the app at all. It was really just a timer. But the second one really had a lot of interaction with the app. Like, there's things you can listen to, which might give you clues. Like, you'll have a card that says, enter this number in the app, and it'll be someone talking. And, you'll need to use that as a clue to solve another puzzle. So that's really neat. And it's I have to say, they're really well done. They're only $15. I'd recommend, so the one that we really liked, which was was the hardest one, but it was like a treasure-based one, like a treasure island-based one, and that one was really fun. So if you have $15 to spare and you like escape rooms, I would definitely recommend picking one of those up. One other thing about it that I really liked was, what was I gonna say? Oh, so some of the cards are just rooms that you're in, and you have to look in the room to find numbers, and those are the cards you can flip over. But a lot of them are hidden. Like, it'll be a close shade to something else. So you have to look really closely to say, like, oh, is that a 16? Yeah, let's flip over 16. And then if you flip over 16, it might be something that you saw in that room.
That's creative.
Yeah,
I like that a lot of these board games, like Drop Mix and this, utilize the phone as a part of it. That's like a really cool thing that I think that board games can start doing more and more. This is really kind of like the dawn of me seeing that. But I think the interactivity will really. I mean, it's kind of like, what it reminds me of, those VHS games when we were kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
VHS board games like
the modern
Gargoyles
version of
one.
those. Yeah.
Or
like the Trivial Pursuit had like Star Wars ones or whatever that you had to watch a video.
Exactly.
Yeah,
seen
it.
Yeah,
was
seen it
another
especially.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are like the more modern ones, because everyone has a phone, so more or less, not everyone, but a lot of people have a phone, so they can use that.
Yeah, and what's also nice about this in comparison to especially the VHS games is that the tape just goes. Like, you'll have to stop it or find a clip. Usually they just make you watch it and the whole game's on a timer, but with the app you have way more options.
Yeah. So, like I said, both these games are really good. Heavy Hitters, I don't know if it's in stores because it was a game that I kickstarted.
Okay.
But if you find it, it's probably expensive because it has a lot of minis. It's probably like $80. But that was really fun. And Unlock,
I've been noticing a lot of the games are around that much now.
Yeah, well, especially if they have minis. And Unlock, like I said, was really cheap, $15. Granted, it's they only give you an hour or 2 hours to solve the puzzle, so there's that. But the cool thing about Unlock that happened like with us is we had friends who bought it and solved it, and then they gave it to us to solve it.
Nice.
And then we might pass it off to someone else to solve it. So even though they paid $15, a lot of people are getting use of that game.
Sure.
Nice.
So some other really quick things that I wanted to mention. Because I haven't been playing a lot of games, I've been doing a lot of reading. I've been reading these books. I don't know if you remember the Arkham Horror board game. It's
Sure.
a fantasy fight game. Yeah,
It's like one of my favorites.
So I've been playing the Arkham Horror card game, and I've also decided to pick up the books based on it that Fantasy Flight released. So one was called
I didn't even know this existed.
Yeah, the Investigators of Arkham Horror, which has like little snippets of like backgrounds of the characters that you can look at as to basically why they're trying to solve the riddles of these ancient ones and basically save the world. In addition, I bought a novella that's supposed to be one of the characters, Roland Banks, he was in the Eldritch Horror board game, the newer version of Arkham Horror.
Okay.
So it's a short 100-page book about his story, which is really cool.
What's cool about that is like, there's always been kind of like a Cthulhu mythos people can add to it, So it's not like it's out of place for them to make up their own like Arkham, like H.P. Lovecraft stuff.
Yeah, and one of the things that I was reading online that's actually interesting, that's the difference between like let's say Lovecraft and Arkham Horror, is in Arkham Horror the heroes actually fight back, whereas in a lot of the Lovecraft stories there's no chance. They're just trying to survive and they're dying.
Yeah, with most of Lovecraft, they either see a creature and like manage to successfully escape, but more likely they go insane, and no one has ever seen an elder god, or else they would like their minds would blow, with a single exception, I think, of Cthulhu in Call of Cthulhu, and that was when he like woke up for like a second. Everyone was like, "Oh shit," and like immediately ran away, and that's kind of as far as that went.
In Arkham Horror, the investigators actually come back. They see these creatures and go a little crazy, but they still are fighting, and they still
actually
like,
have a chance.
Yeah, they have a chance.
Yeah, but the beauty of those games is that like you either close the seal or you can fight the gods, but you can't. Like you have a chance, but it's like, come on.
And then the other books I've been reading are same with Fantasy Flight. The Android Netrunner game has books, so it's basically it's a 2-player card game. I'm not going to go too much into the card game, but the world is like a cyberpunk kind of world.
Sure.
Kind of like a mixture of Blade Runner, but like not as gritty as Blade Runner, but a similar idea. So again, there's 2 books I read for that. One is a big book called the Worlds of Android, which is like the different cities that exist in our future, let's say, and stuff like that. And then I bought a novella for that, which is basically one of the characters that you can play as in the card game, and like her story against one of the mega corporations. That's another one of the, let's say, quote unquote, characters you can play as in the card game.
That's pretty cool.
I've heard mixed reviews of the Fantasy Flight books, that not all of the authors are that great, but I really just like the idea of being able to read more about these worlds that I play games in. Yeah.
You know what that makes me think of, actually? I would be interested in seeing if there were books for the Resistance and Coup, because like
I'm pretty sure there aren't.
Yeah, those games just look like there should be lore behind them.
There's actually another game that they released. I forget what it's called. I think it's called Grifters, and it's supposed to be like the underworld. So like the same world you're playing, but this is like the underworld of that.
Neat.
And that actually amuses me because the overworld is already like corrupt and gritty as hell. So like, what the hell is the underworld like?
Yep.
There's no espionage. It's just shoot somebody in the face like all the time.
there's vampires and werewolves.
Oh, an underworld, yeah.
So last but not least, just some really, really, really quick updates. I finally beat the Grand Blue Story.
Nice.
I managed. I beat it yesterday, actually. So that I'm still continuing with that. I've been playing the Final Fantasy Dissidia game on my phone. I'm loving that.
Nice.
I've been finishing up with a lot of stuff in there, playing that, do my dailies. And with Final Fantasy 9, I've been playing that. I feel like with 9, and I know that I keep saying this is my favorite one, but considering that I don't have a lot of time to play these games, like I was playing it for a few hours today, and while I was playing, I'm like, I kind of want to just stop because if I keep this up, I'm gonna be playing this game for the next year and
Yeah.
not be able to play like anything else.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's tough finding time to play these games. So long RPGs are
I
a
hear you,
drain.
man.
Yeah,
I hear you.
but anyway, I didn't want to leave on that sour of a note, but I'm done. Lotus Prince, why don't you brighten our day?
Well, let's start with drudgery. You guys might remember this past Wednesday we had quite the snowstorm. I don't know how it was for
Yes.
you, Pyro, but yeah, Vice and I got rocked pretty hard.
It was pretty bad, but
yeah.
I don't think it was as bad as New Jersey.
Yeah, like where I lived, we got like 6 to 8 inches. So the thing was though, it was coming down really hard, and it was like the wet, like clumpy kind of snow. So it was actually like I went out at like 4 o'clock, and I was working on shoveling the driveway. And as I got past the halfway point of the driveway toward the 3/4 point, the stuff I'd already shoveled like was starting to accumulate again. Like it was insane. So it was nice to finally get rid of all that, but it took like most of the day because you had to like go out, do some shoveling, go back in. When more snow accumulates, go back out, do some shoveling. So when like you want to do that so you don't wait until the end and have like a wall of snow to shovel off of your driveway, which is ridiculous.
Were both days bad or just the one?
No, it was just the one. Thursday was when you waited to see if your place of work was closed or not, because some places were and some weren't. Like I had work.
I had work.
Yeah.
I had work too.
Yeah, and meanwhile, my parents and I think my brother, well, I don't know about my brother. My parents, I think both did not have work, so I was like, oh, okay, cool. I guess I'll just drive 40 minutes to where I work. It's fine. It's annoying because my trip should be like 20, 25 minutes, but like the time I leave makes it closer to 40. Otherwise, though, at least I got the day off on the Wednesday for that, so that was nice. But otherwise, I've been playing Drakengard, and I am nearly at the point where I can beat the game and get the first ending. Because to get the first ending, you just play to the end. There are 8 chapters. But the second ending, you unlock more chapters. So it's like, oh, I can keep going. So like I'm getting to the point where I can get to the first ending. Now, when I started playing the game, your character isn't really likable, but the thing is, Old Man Stompy has played Drakengard before, and he talks about how just utterly reprehensible your entire party is, and I wasn't really feeling that, but now I'm getting it, because here's the thing with this, you can go through the game without even recruiting any party members. It's just that getting alternate endings requires them.
What do the different party members do?
Oh, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, like, they're not just regular playable characters. In any level, you play as the main guy, but you may choose to, like you could select one party member before the level as the one you can summon, like 3 times or something. And when you summon them, they they steadily lose health, but they're pretty good at attacking. Like one guy shoots magic spells, but like way more than your character can do, and you can just kind of use him until he disappears.
Okay.
I haven't played with the other. Now there are 3 recruitable party members, but I have to beat the game once to be able to get the 4th one. So I only have 3 playable characters right now. Now here's the deal. Your character, his parents were killed by a dragon like before the game started. And very early in the game, you have to defend this castle where your sister is being kept, and you're just furious because your family's in danger, and you get slashed in the back pretty bad, and you're like, oh, damn it. So you gotta, like, do what you can while you can, and after you take out all the nearby guys, you see that there's a dragon that the other people have, like, chained down and captured, and you're like, god damn it, I hate dragons, and you get ready to kill it, and then you're like, wait a minute. I'm about to die, though, and in this universe, there's a thing you can do where you could, like, make a pact with various supernatural entities, and it'll restore both of you, and you'll be kind of bonded to each other, sort of. And you're like, I do hate dragons, and this dragon doesn't really seem to have a liking for me, but we're both about to die, so let's do this. So that's how you hook up with the dragon in, like, level, like, 3. It's really early. And what's cool about the game is you can seamlessly jump on and off of the dragon and go into like flying and shoot fireballs down in your enemies mode, which is kind of cool for a PS2 game. But the thing is, your character, like, to make a pact, you have to sacrifice something big. So your character sacrifices his ability to speak. And the dragon's like, what? And the dragon's like, whatever, I'll talk for both of us, it's fine. But as you play through the game, I've found 2 other characters you can recruit. And oh boy, like, Old Man Stompy was not joking. So the first guy I met, Leonard, is his deal is, I guess he was some kind of priest or whatever. He seems to be really interested in, like, caring for others, and he's not a fighter. He uses magic. And now the game really downplayed him, the American version. I didn't know what was so bad about this character, but Old Man Stompy said that, like, he's supposed to be a pedophile, and you don't really, like, get that from the American version. So I was like, oh, well, that colors that. There's another character who you find in jail, and she's just, like, she's really tied up, like, full-on chained-up straitjacket tied up, and it's like, whoa, what's this person?
Is she a cannibal or something?
Oh, that is exactly what. So, like, the moment you save her, she's like, hey, have you seen any elf children around? And, like, you don't know who this person is at all. So you're like, relatives? I don't know. And you're like, no, not really. And she's like, too bad. They're so sweet. Well, I guess an adult human will do. And she immediately tries to start biting my character's neck. And, like, the old priest, who is not Leonard, who's with me, is like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So he, like, casts some spell on her and locks her down. And he's like, I'm going to take her away for her own good. And then the scene ends, and it's like, she joined your party. I'm like, what? Okay. So we got the pedophile, we got the person who eats children, and then we have our piece of shit character that we play as. This guy basically exists just for vengeance. He hates the Empire. He hates basically everyone now. And, like, with each passing level, he's just kind of deriving a pleasure from killing his enemies. Like, the thing is, like, your own party members are like, dude, take it down, like, several notches. The dragon has her moments where she's like, those pathetic humans think they could stand up to a dragon? I will show them what's what with my fire. But, like, as you're just murdering more and more people, the dragon's like, are you going to kill all of the Empire by yourself, buddy? Is that your mission here? Like, it's amazing. There's actually one mission that made me kind of uncomfortable, which is, the way this game works is when a level starts, you get a map of the whole level, and it shows you where enemies currently are, but then there are yellow circles. Like, those are the particular enemies you must kill. And when you kill them, it shows the map again. It's actually kind of annoying when you're playing a level a second time, but whatever. But, like, the map pops up again, and it's like, well, now here are these targets you need to take out. And, like, it just kind of keeps doing that until the level ends, at which point you just run to the exit. So the targets you had to go after were a bunch of empires, but they also had some conscripts. So they're, like, I don't know how old they are, but they looked like they were anywhere from 12 to, like, 18-year-old, like, child soldiers. And you're just, like, taking them down. And this is the part where, like, I didn't realize it at first, but the first character you recruit is like, they're just children. What are you doing? But now that I know he's a pedophile, that kind of colors that statement a little differently. But either way, but either way, yeah, right. But either way, your own party is like, okay, dude, calm down. But, like, once you take out, like, the child soldiers, like all of the ones you need to, the map pops up, and it's like, those Imperial jackals are on the retreat. Do not let them get away. But, like, the targets are just more child soldiers, and it's like, oh, goddamn. So, like, my character's just running around butchering everybody, but, like, especially kids, and it's like, I don't know what his personal motivation was for them in particular, because he doesn't have a vendetta against them. I guess he's just that much of an asshole.
He's a psychopath.
He really is, though. Like, again, you're angry dragon, and I haven't gotten much word from the cannibal, but, like, your own party is like, you're killing a lot. Like, there's this one mission where when you get to the scene at the end of a level, some guy from Hokuto no Ken, like, some poor peasant, just like, sir, my village is being attacked by the Empire, and there are people who need saving, could you please help them out? And you're like, oh, fine, whatever, dude. And then you, like, you walk away, and your dragon calls after you. You're like, are you going to that village to save people, or are you going there to kill more enemies? And then when the next level starts, the text before the level says, like, Kaim heads to the next village, but was it to save people or to kill them? And then, like, and then once you beat the level, it's like, Kaim had headed to the village, but it was to kill people. It's just like, Jesus, like, you're a freaking asshole, man. Like, if you happen to save
sounds
people,
like a very dark game.
it is. Like, if you happen to save people, then like, okay, I guess that's good, but I'm really in it to kill my enemies, and it's like, you are not a hero. Like, man.
In the slightest, yeah.
Wow. Otherwise, so that's Drakengard. I'm ready to get the first ending, and there are 5 endings. They each have different requirements. Ending 1 is just beat 8 chapters. Ending 2 is beat 12 chapters. And then there's do side missions, get every weapon in the game, and there's one more thing. So I'll do them. Otherwise, my White Day Let's Play is getting there for patrons. By the time this podcast goes public, I think part 1 or 2 will be up for public consumption, so that'll be cool. Donkey Kong Country 2, I streamed more of that. Getting toward the end. There's only 1 or 2 worlds left. I think I have like 76% done right now, and the maximum for DKC2 is 102%, because with the Donkey Kong Country games, it's 101%, 102, and 103, because they're being cute. So
do they have different endings depending on if you've
with Donkey Kong Country 1, Cranky at the end of the game just says, you didn't get everything, or wow, I can't believe you got everything. So not really. With Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3, though, you get like an extra level and boss. So it's worth it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like you get to, like, you fight K. Rool, but if you get 102%...
K. Rool.
Oh, is that how it is? You know, actually, that crappy CG TV series that Donkey Kong Country had, they said K. Rool, so I don't know if that's canon or what, but yeah.
I always called him K. Rool.
I always said K. Rool as well, but then I heard it on the show, I was like, huh.
I mean, technically, if you want to pronounce his name how they were probably going, you should just call him Cruel.
Exactly, that's the whole thing. And Donkey Kong 64 is clumsy, like, but in any case, there's you beat him, and then you get to fight him one last time, and it's harder. It's kind of cool. But then I got co-op LPs going on, and I have more going on than I thought I would. I now have the maximum amount of Let's Plays simultaneously being worked on, and when I start recording Ori and the Blind Forest by myself, that'll mean I'm working on freaking 4 Let's Plays at the same time. Because here's the deal. I'm doing Doki Doki with Vice. We've talked about that. I don't believe I've mentioned this yet on the podcast, just the Vice on the phone, but I'm recording Until Dawn with Mr. Ryu.
Oh,
and
nice.
You remember, all 3 of us played a bit of Until Dawn at Vice's place a few years ago.
And I beat it because I bought it when I got a PS4.
Oh, you went ahead and beat it?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
And I sucked at it, but...
I've been surprisingly good at the QuickTime events, but I am not saving everybody that's played through.
No, I think half the people died when I played.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have a body count by the end of my playthrough. I don't know what that count's gonna be, but it's more than 0. In any case, that game is a blast. And the thing with Mr. Ryu is, like, whenever I ask him to do a Let's Play, like, I wonder how interested he is in doing it, or if he's just going along with it. Like, Ride to Hell, he asked for. And Overblood, I knew he wanted to do it, but, like, as we're playing both games, though, they're not great, so we're just kind of like, alright, let's beat the game, you know? Mm-hmm. But, like, Until Dawn, that was one of those where I asked him if he wanted to play it, and he was like, yeah, okay, I guess. And I'm like, I hope he's into it. But, like, we are really into it, though. That game is a lot of fun. We know this already, but that game's a lot of fun playing with an audience.
Yeah, that's a lot blast. That was a lot of fun when we were all in the room.
Oh man!
Yeah, and actually, when I got my PS4 and I got that was, I think, 2 Christmases ago.
Yeah.
And like the weekend or 2 after, we were at my friend's house. Oh no! So I think I bought the PS4 and brought it to my friend's house because I didn't even get the chance to bring it to my house yet. Mm-hmm. Because I bought it at Black Friday, I think.
That's what I did.
And I went right to their house from Black Friday, so I didn't even get a chance to install. So I opened it up in their place, and I started playing Until Dawn.
Yeah.
And we just stayed up all night beating Until Dawn.
Oh, dude, I can totally see that.
It's like watching a movie.
Yeah, it really is. It's an interactive movie where you can actually change the outcome. It's like what some movies like wish they could do with those choose your own adventure kinds of things, like alternate endings. So Until Dawn, oh my god, that game is highly entertaining, and I think you remember this, Pyro, especially. Vice, you may remember this. You know how between levels you have the talk with that therapist guy?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Even though the real game is with the kids and trying not to die, the interludes with the therapist, I think, are some of my favorite parts of the game, because that guy is clearly like making you uncomfortable, and he seems to just kind of get a kick out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that guy really enjoys his job, and it's just like I actually laughed out loud like several times when I don't think like there's a part where like he asks you, what do you fear more? Like what scares you more? Rats or spiders? What scares you more? Gore or heights? What scares you more? Spiders or gore? Like, and you kind of like work your way down, and eventually for us he was like, so what scares you the most? Rats, heights, and like gore, OFFAL, awful. So he's like, spiders, heights, and awful. Huh. Sounds like a good Friday night. I'm like, are you fucking what? Like it's just like it's just hilarious. Like what the hell is this? It's just really funny. And the last, I actually started recording a third Let's Play very recently. Old Man Stompy and Minty Mitz were in the area, so at long last, this ties nicely into Pyro's Escape the Room talk, and also what Pyro's brought up earlier. We started 999, so that's looking to be fun. So that game I didn't really realize, but that game is basically Escape the Room, the video game, kind of.
Yep. Kind of, yeah.
Except with like trauma. So
yep.
We haven't. I mean, we had someone die who introduced the concept of characters dying in the game, but no one's died because of choices that I've made. So we haven't gotten to that point yet.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I never played 999. I played the sequel.
It's good stuff.
Okay, because the gimmick with 999 is you need to do like math to have people's numbers get to a point where it matches the numbers on the door, so only a certain number of people can go in, which means that as you go through the game, eventually it'll get to a point where the numbers just don't work out. So some people are going to have to be left behind. And I haven't gotten there yet. We've only just begun, but
I've actually beaten this game.
Oh, nice.
I'm actually in the position where I'm the only person who's beaten this one.
Nice. I want to see if I can
That's surprising.
I want to see I want to see if I can go through all endings if possible. Even Old Man Stompy, like he's gotten the best ending, but he hasn't gotten all endings because you don't need to get all of the bad ones to get the best one.
Yes,
so I don't know. He says he hasn't seen all the endings, but he's gotten the best one. So I don't know. So we'll see. In any case, this is a rare example though. Like with Danganronpa, with Pyro and with me, the thing with that game is we voiced it, but during the class trials, like voice acting kicked in. But with 999, there's voice acting the entire time. So in order to not make the entire game a many hour let's watch, we just muted the voices so we can voice them. Otherwise, there's really not much for us to do.
Sure.
Even though I would enjoy listening to the voice acting, like we wouldn't have anything to do for like 80% of the game. So we're doing the voices. Anyway, that's pretty much been my week. So how about you, Vice?
So my week has been a bit of a strange one. It's been mostly because of the weather, the inclement weather. It was really tough on Wednesday getting home. It took me 2 hours to get home. They let us go early, but it turned out that was probably a bad decision because if they had let us stay, it would have been cleared up by then.
Yeah.
Because like it was melting really, really quickly because it's March.
Yeah.
But it was absolutely awful. There were people, all kinds of accidents on the way, and also like lots of traffic lights down.
Yeah, there was. I didn't even mention that there were tons of tree branches down, like everywhere.
Yeah, it was a bad storm, and this week just hasn't been good. There's some situations going down at my job that aren't particularly good. Let's say it's a raising rate environment without boring people with financial stuff, but it's a raising rate environment, and my job is essentially like the business is drying up in it. So so the morale's very, very low right now. So I'm attempting to remedy that in my personal life, but as a result, I did play a little bit today and on Friday. So I've been playing off and on Nuclear Throne.
That game's fun.
I really love this game. I love this and Enter the Gungeon. I think they're very similar.
Yeah, I remember you said like you're not big on roguelikes, but you do like those.
Yeah, I like the shooter type ones. I do like Binding of Isaac, but I find Binding of Isaac to be a lot more obtuse than these games. because like you need to know what the power-ups do. I have no idea what those power-ups do.
Yeah, and most of them don't take you long to figure out, but some of them, like, you really, like, they're kind of context sensitive.
Like the tarot cards, like I really have a hard time with those. I have a hard time remembering what they do. So I'm glad that I found something that's similar. I like the structure of them, but I like the gameplay better.
Sure.
So Enter the Gungeon is a more fully fledged game, but for some reason I just got hooked on Nuclear Throne recently, so I'll be playing both of those. But
Nuclear Throne has a cool aesthetic. It's got the whole post-apocalyptic thing going on.
Oh yeah, no, it's great, but I think that Enter the Gungeon has just more content.
Yeah, I feel that Enter the Gungeon is a more fleshed out, like, probably better game, but Nuclear Throne is still, like, worth it.
Yeah, no, Nuclear Throne is very rewarding. I've actually gotten further than I ever had in it, so I am getting better at the game.
Nice.
I'm also getting more judicious with which mutations I pick and which ones I'm prioritizing and which ones like harmonize with the other ones a lot better. And I'm also getting better at picking out which guns I should avoid and that kind of thing. Which guns better suit my play style and which ones are best with what character that you start with.
Yeah. I will say that is one thing about Binding of Isaac, where like when you're first playing the game, you don't know what anything does until you try it out. So you could really just ruin your run, and like there's no way you could have known. It's only on like a subsequent runs you're like, oh, I better not touch that one.
Yeah, and that's kind of the reason why I don't like it as much. It's because the barrier to entry is a lot higher than these two games. Because it's pretty easy to understand that, you know, with the way a shotgun works.
Yeah.
Like I know the way a shotgun is going to work. There are various different types of like machine guns. Turns out the really powerful machine guns may not be the best pick because they actually blow through ammo very, 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 very quickly.
Sure.
To the point they're really good for fighting big things and, you know, dispatching them quickly, but they're not.
Yeah, you can't just run through a room and spray.
Correct. You'll run out of ammo very quickly, and when you run out of ammo, you're done in that game. Like there's no melee attack unless you have a melee weapon. So I'm really enjoying it. I unlocked a new character. I unlocked a robot, and he's really neat. He can eat weapons, which is really neat. Like if you come across a weapon that you don't want to use, you can eat it and turn it into it either turns into HP or it turns into ammo.
That's fantastic.
That's really useful.
But here's a question, because I did watch you play Enter the Gungeon, but it was like once. If you do run out of ammo,
you mean Nuclear Throne? You said Enter the Gungeon.
No, Enter the Gungeon.
Enter the Gungeon.
If you do run out of ammo though, because you're talking. Wait, you were talking about Nuclear Throne this whole time with different weapon types. Oh, never mind. Okay, Enter the Gungeon was different then, because I was Nuclear Throne. The whole thing's like open world, right? Because with Enter the Gungeon, you have to kill everything to open the exit.
So, and Enter the Gungeon, every gun has its own ammo.
Okay.
In Nuclear Throne, the way that it works is that there are, I believe, 5 different ammo types, and all of when you collect ammo, you more than likely are going to get an ammo type for the type of gun that you are using. However, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get other types.
Yeah, but even so though, if you are more likely to get ammo for the gun you're using, that might actually encourage you to not have a full loadout. You might only want to carry like 1 or 2 guns, so you'll you're going to get the ammo for those.
You can only carry 2.
Oh, okay, so never mind.
Yeah, you can only carry 2 guns, so it also makes effectively makes it useless to have 2 guns that use the same ammo type, because you're using the same.
You're draining the other supply.
You should just pick one. Yeah. You should just pick one and then use the other one. Typically, the best way that things go is you need one that you can be pretty accurate with to kill the small enemies that can dispatch things. Even if it's a little weaker, it's better to have it because you can kill a lot of mooks with it. But then you also need a more powerful, slower weapon. That's typically I typically like a machine gun and a shotgun. I think that works out the best.
Close range and long range.
Correct. And you can get like an assault rifle, and those are really powerful and shoot in short bursts, so you're not going to run out of ammo very quickly, and it's accurate. So that's a really good combo. But you can get other things. I mean, there's weird weapons like actually one of the best weapons in the game is the flamethrower. It's amazing because it doesn't use up a lot of ammo when you use it, but it kills mooks very, very easily, and it also kills bosses very easily.
Well, that reminds me of Deus Ex, where like flamethrower ammo is extremely limited. But if you literally tap the button and like a little puff comes out, if it hits an enemy, they're on fire for like. It's not an infinite amount of time, but enemies will die before it goes out.
So the type of ammo that it uses is explosives ammo. So it uses the same type of ammo that a grenade launcher would use, for instance. So it's pretty cool. If you have one of those and a shotgun, it'll work out really well. But you have to be judicious with that, because you have to say to yourself, okay, well, do I take a chance and keep a weapon that I have a low amount of ammo for, in thinking that I'll probably get some ammo for it? Mm-hmm. Or do I pick up something that I have a little bit more ammo in, but it's not as good of a pairing?
Sure.
That's like in like Uncharted or some first-person shooters. I'd always want to carry a sniper rifle because I love sniper rifles, but their ammo is always low.
Halo's that.
So I always had to make sure I carried like a normal weapon that I know I could just kill things with.
Yeah,
just normally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a sniper rifle and a pistol in the first Halo is a good combo. Also, a sniper rifle and an assault rifle is a good combo. So you have to be judicious. Sometimes you're just screwed over. I mean, there's no getting around it. Sometimes you just have a bad run. It's just like Isaac. Sometimes you just don't have the tools you need.
The button I use most in Binding of Isaac is probably the reset button at the very beginning of a run.
I mean, well, in this game, it's harder to tell whether you're going to have a good run or not. So some of it's random, but I mean, I'm consistently getting further, so I know I'm getting better.
Sure.
So I'm going to continue on with that. Hopefully I get to the nuclear throne pretty soon. That's not the only thing to do in that game. Of course, there's plenty of stuff to unlock.
Yeah.
Depending on
it's like the Binding of Isaac. If all you want to do is beat the game, that's actually not terribly demanding, especially early, but that's not really the point of the game.
Yeah. I did also play some Darksiders Warmastered Edition because I'm getting excited about the third game coming out, and I had never beaten the first one.
I need to get back to beating the second one. The first one's really fun, though.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying the aesthetic. It's a lot of fun. So I haven't really gotten into it. I just basically did the intro, but it's a lot of fun. And I'll continue on with that after I beat Horizon Zero Dawn, which I also got back into today while I was searching for jobs and stuff. So Horizon Zero Dawn I had taken a hiatus from since I had moved because I just didn't have my PS4 set up. Now I have my setup. I played it again, and I got back to doing the weapon trials because I want to get the upgraded weapons from the
some of those are really
Lodge.
Challenging.
Yeah, but I like them. They're a lot of fun. The most recent one was the stealth ones. So this one, the first one that you have to do in the stealth one is you have to do a backstab on 3 different or 4 of a single type of robot. Mm-hmm. And then the second one is a lot harder. So there are these like hermit crab robots that have like these carriers on their back where a shell for a hermit crab would be. Mm-hmm. And they carry cargo in them. And they like really defend this. And you're supposed to loot 4 of them. The thing is you need to get them away from them. But there are robots everywhere during these trials. So like you'll get murdered if you just straight up go after them. So what essentially comes down to is you have to go in there real quick, like shoot the vibration arrow at them right at the part where it locks, What's cool about this game is you can target specific body parts, and it actually does what you think it'll do. So you could target like their mooring for the cargo, and it'll blow it right off. So you do it to 2 of them, loot the box really quick, and then run to the other 2. It's insane. It was really hard.
Yeah, I remember when I was first playing that, I tried just killing them, quote unquote, normally.
Yeah,
and
you can't do it in time.
Early in, I was having a really tough time beating it, and then once I started to destroy body parts, like it opened up so much more strategy for that game, and I'm just like, holy shit, this is how you play. And then I was just run around destroying parts because I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah,
cool.
I look forward to playing this.
There are a lot of weapons that you don't think are very good because they don't do damage. But then you find out that they're very effective at knocking off armor and weapons off the bad guy.
Yep.
And in some cases with some of the bigger robots, if you knock off some of their parts, some of them are like cannons and stuff. You could pick up the cannon and use it against it.
Oh, nice.
So
like the T-Rex is a good one, a good example of that.
Exactly. The Thunderjaw, I think it's called.
Yeah, like what I do a lot of times when I fight enemies, especially big guys, I just run around with the tearing arrows and just like pummel them with tearing arrows until like all their body parts are off, and then I would run around and actually kill them normally.
Yeah, not only that, but you can get the body parts you knock off actually are collectible. Like you can actually like collect them for resources.
Yeah, they're loot that you could use to upgrade stuff.
Yeah, so it's totally worth it to do it that way, and it also makes it easier to hit their weak points most of the time. So I fell in love with that game all over again. I'm sorry that I ever fell off with it because it's just so good. And the final thing that I wanted to go over real quick is I got a new office chair. Normally I wouldn't really mention this, but it's really neat. So I'll let you guys see it. It's popping up a little bit in our window here for those of us who can't see it, but it's called a Secret Lab Titan, and it's like basically all metal, and it's basically meant to be like really durable, and then like it's a leather chair. It's really good and very.
How much was it?
It was expensive. It was like $250, but
okay. But I mean, good office chairs, especially if you game at your computer, are really, really useful to have.
Yeah, I actually could use an upgraded chair for like my computer as well, because I've been using like a really just the kind of basic cheap like swivel chair, and it gets a little uncomfortable to sit down after a while.
Yeah, you can easily be in this chair for a very long time, and also I can use it to game in the living room as well. So, and it'll last a really long time. Like there's no way that this isn't your standard office chair. It's not going anywhere. Like this thing's a rock. So I just quickly wanted to mention that it's advertised a lot on gaming websites and Facebook right now. But I would say it's worth it. I saw a couple reviews on it, and I was like, I'm sold. I don't want a crappy one again. Like the one that I had was crappy. So
Gotcha.
And it wasn't helping out my back and all that stuff. So, and real quick before we move to our question here, I just really quick wanted to mention that we got some responses over the week. First of all, being from General Ledger, I forgot to mention this last week, but he clarified on what a bubon was when we were going over the bubonic plague. So he says, you got me curious, so I looked it up. A bubon is actually a swollen lymph node.
Oh, wow.
And it's one of the first signs of the disease. The term is actually Greek for groin.
Okay.
So, interesting.
Well, now we know.
There's a boob on my groin. Anyway. And
it's not a laughing matter.
It is. And I really quick, because I said I was going to do this, and I think it's interesting. Thacathon had asked the question last week, do you guys have any music that you listen to while you work? If not, what would it be? And so we had a couple responses to that. Thacathon himself said, I usually listen to music while working because I don't work as fast, but I do work a lot longer when I do. So
yeah, that is a good point. Like, because I had mentioned that it would interfere with my working, but at the same time, like it could prolong the amount of time I'm working anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Evil Fish 1 said, I'm a bit strange when it comes to listening to music when I'm working. I'm a hobbyist coder, and I tend to favor fairly fast-paced, intense instrumental stuff to work to, which is what I like. Video game soundtracks are great for this. Some favorites would be Mirror's Edge and Deus Ex. Good choices.
No kidding. I gotta check Mirror's Edge again, but Deus Ex, of course, I know about that.
No, Mirror's Edge has great music.
Yeah.
And but if I had to hit a particularly complex problem, the music gets paused, and I can identify with that.
Same
if I
thing
know
that
what
I
I'm working on is going to be new to me or particularly difficult, I prefer ambient noise, white noise, or heavy rain.
Yeah, that I could see, yeah.
It serves to completely block out any external sounds while being completely unobtrusive.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. You do not want perfect silence, because then you'll hear everything.
Yeah, no, I don't like that either. I also use white or ambient noise when sleeping on planes and trains. It tends to mask everything but the loudest of screaming babies.
Yep.
So I have actually slept with the TV on for years, and luckily my girlfriend does too, so it worked out well. But I know what he means by that. So
yeah.
Lotus, why don't you take us into this week?
Yeah, so I think we have time for one question here.
Yeah.
Diana Gohan asks, since you guys mentioned hanging out a lot of barbecues together, like Vice's annual BBQ thing, who do you think of your group is your best chef, and what are you guys overall best or worst at cooking?
I mean, I would say out of the three of us, maybe if you'd include Old Man Stompy, probably Vice is the best cook.
That would be my assumption, yeah.
Yeah, I've gotten even better recently because I've been cooking for my girlfriend.
Yeah, I would say that I'm not that bad, but it's really I have to want to cook very well. Because I mean, I used to, when I lived by myself, I would cook for myself, so I got practice with that, and now living with the people that I live with, I'd have like 1 or 2 nights a week where I would cook. So I'm not a bad cook, but I have to want to do it.
Yeah, like
I don't think I've ever had your food other than maybe the barbecues, the stuff at the recent barbecue, but it was good.
Yeah,
real good.
I would say I'm probably the least proficient of us in terms of cooking. Like, if you give me like a recipe, I can follow it, but like if you had an option of like which of us would you like to cook for you, like you probably would not select me. Like I tend to stick to the like obscenely easy stuff like pasta and things like that. where you put it in water and you boil the water, and that's basically it.
I tend to be on the belief that you don't become a good cook until you're forced to.
No, that's the thing. Like I don't think that like if I did cook more often, I don't think that my stuff would come out badly every time. It's just like I just don't tend to cook.
I mean, you probably run out of barbecue sauce pretty quickly. But,
well, there's always more on the side, though. It's fine.
Especially with that Christmas gift.
Yes, that's right. I put it on my planes.
Don't know, he got a present with a side of barbecue sauce.
That's my MO, man.
But yeah, I would say that I really enjoy cooking, which is I think what makes you good at it, you know.
I wouldn't say I enjoy it in terms of like I don't look for cooking, but when I'm cooking, if I know that I have time to take my time, then I usually have fun. And like you said, you don't really get good at it until you have to. And I will say that after years of having to cook for myself, I've learned a little bit of like I've experimented a little bit, and so I also follow recipes usually, but I will maybe change things here and there, or if I'm really lazy, I'll say like, oh, what do we have in the fridge? Oh, we have this vegetable, we have this starch, we have this meat. I'll just figure out something that I can use to throw them together or cook with them. Sure.
I would agree that too, and you know what also makes you a better cook is also cooking for other people, because then they kind of challenge you to get out of your comfort zone too. And also you learn how to cook for a more general palate then. Some of the stuff that I like, I know not other people, will generally like, that kind of thing. So you want to vary it up for the other person.
Yeah.
So cooking for my girlfriend has really kind of
opened your eyes.
Opened my eyes, because I could easily just make myself some grilled chicken and that's it. And I'd be fine with it. So I think we got that one pretty good. So
Yep.
we will move on to our outro here. That's the show for this week. We want to thank our fans who contributed questions. I also really want to thank everybody who responded to the question as well. Please keep doing that. I will read your responses. If it gets to the point where we have too many of them, of course I'm going to have to pick and choose, but that's a wonderful problem.
There's a problem you want to have.
I want that problem. So please go ahead, guys. Please respond to our question of the week. I'll respond, and we'll talk about them. But I really appreciate the interaction here. We love it when you guys interact with us. That's part of the reason why we like the questions to begin with. So any more interactivity, we're gonna keep up with. So please keep us supplied with awesome topics by submitting questions of your own via the YouTube and SoundCloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. It helps us promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Thursdays on our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, the in-depth look at this week in our lives. Finally, you can friend me as VyseTheBold on Steam, PSN, Xbox Live, Twitter, Switch, and pretty much anything else.
And Battle.net, of course.
And Battle.net.
Wouldn't want to forget that. You can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, or even selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
You can usually find me trolling the internet on Battle.net or PSN as Cloudoid540 or PyroJackFrost.
Wait, there are trolls on the internet?
There are trolls on the internet. What? Actually, I don't know if we talked about this before on the podcast, but when Old Man Stompy told me the definition of trolling, it opened my eyes.
Oh, yeah, for fishing? Yeah, wow.
Yeah, because I think...
It blew my mind.
Yeah, this was at MagFest, where I think I had seen a cosplay of a guy in a fisherman's outfit holding up, like, on the hook. The bait was a sign that said, like a room at the Gaylord, and so people were just trying to, like, reach for it. He's like, oh, can't reach it. Oh, almost had it there. So he was literally trolling for bait.
I think he was referring to the Geico commercials, but you gotta
maybe,
be
but it was
than
freaking
that.
brilliant.
It's still really good.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll catch you on Thursday, guys.
Until next time, everyone.
Until next time.
Bye-bye.